Hey gang, Clay here, Mountain Music Exchange, and today I've got a pretty cool one. As of the filming of this video, this guitar is not released yet, so to have like a guitar in my hands from Gibson that nobody has yet, it's kind of a cool thing for me, just being the nerd that I am. So let's talk about it a little bit. This is the Gibson ES-335 custom color figured top, and this is in Ocean Burst. And I know typically if you think of like an Ocean Burst type guitar, at least me, I think of something that's sort of got this sort of sandy, sort of like lighter blue, it kind of reminds you of the beach or whatever, but call this what you will. This Ocean Burst finish is absolutely gorgeous, and especially with this maple top. So what we're gonna do is just go over this guitar really quick. I'm gonna play it for you on a few different settings using my trusty Felix the Helix, which I will show you right now. And yes, I realize Felix needs a bath, but Felix has been on the road a lot, back and forth to here, back and forth to other places, so it might be a second, and that's okay. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. What I'll first do is just go ahead and kind of distinguish anything on here that might separate it from another ES-335, which I kind of already have a little bit. Mostly it's the custom color, and the top, of course, is a little unique. But also, we'll go over it top to bottom, hit the specs, we'll play it a little bit. As we're doing that, try to keep this video concise as much as possible, while also giving you as much information as possible about the guitar. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Check it out. Gibson standard style headstock. You have a pretty dark back on this, except you have this beautiful burst on the back, and it still has some Nashville dust on that because we just got this out. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, gorgeous burst on the back. You've got sort of a black neck here. It's a pretty chunky neck. I would definitely classify this as a 50s style neck. Pretty sure the spec would do the same. If it says slim, it doesn't feel as slim to me with my slightly smaller than average hands. Again, another little knife center, David C. Anderson shout out there. And this guitar has a Graphtec nut. It also has a rosewood fingerboard, bound of course. Single ply binding on the neck and body for this, by the way. You also have those super cool, like small block inlays. I always thought those were cool. They give me such a 70s vibe in all the right good ways on this. And of course you have your Gibson like deluxe vintage style tuners right here. And look at that top. Just look at that. That is an absolutely gorgeous top. I will do my best to get you some B-roll footage sort of as we're playing, just to sort of fill the visual space so it's not the same static shot over and over again. But it does have just a very cool vibe. Pick guard here, and it's, I don't know if that's the long pick guard or the short pick guard. Let me know in the comments below. Is that the long pick guard like the 59 style, or is that the shorter one? I always get confused on that. Typically I'm more of a solid body guy, but I can never ever turn away playing one of these 335s. I think they are fantastic guitars. So anyway, I digress. Orange drop capacitors here, and you have an ABR1 style bridge here. The reason I say style is there are still like posts that go into bushings that then go into the body. So a normal ABR1 would have posts that go directly into the body, but as far as the actual unit itself that sits on top of that, it is the narrower style, and it fits that aesthetic very well. You've got a standard stop bar tailpiece here. And I think that's about got it for like the standard sort of specs here. But you do have a mahogany neck on this. You also have a maple center block, which runs directly through here. That's where all of your like your pickups, your bridge, your tailpiece, everything's mounted. Then of course, you know, inside the F-hole here, just outside of that block is where you'll find your pots and orange drop capacitors. And let's see, I've said and a lot, haven't I? Let's try not to do that. Okay, anyway, moving forward, you have a maple body construction here as well. Now this is a 3-ply maple, poplar, maple sort of body construction to get this sort of arched top here that you see. And fun fact, by the way, they still use the same machine in the Gibson USA factory to press these tops that they did in the original Kalamazoo days. And even more fun fact, that machine goes all the way back to like 1940 something as sort of a World War II pressing machine. and they just repurpose it and it still works and they still use it. And I think that is very, very neat that the same top or the same machine will press the top on your brand new 2024, 2025 model guitar as the original classic era, you know, golden era of ES guitars in 1959 or something like that. So I think that is just a neat little touch, just a cool thing that Gibson probably didn't have to do, and it's probably at this juncture, I couldn't imagine that parts are easily available for it, for example, right? But anyway, yeah, just a cool ride. It's just a cool ride. So what we're going to do here is we're going to check on, oh, look at this. The sides are burst as well with some of that Nashville dust on there. Look at that. And it's flamed. It's flamed on the back. Everything is just super flamey. It's gorgeous. Now, the way that I suspect this top works is because this is a 3-ply poplar maple, no, maple, poplar, maple top, is that your top ply. So it's not a veneer, right? And we already probably know it's not a veneer because it's a Gibson, but your top ply here is this beautiful flamed maple here that you see all the way around. And I will get you some B-roll as we're playing, but I don't think you can grasp with a camera exactly how deep this blue looks along the edge on the side here. It looks deeper than the front or the back. And maybe it's because there's not as much of it, so not as much light can refract around or whatever, but it looks fantastic. Anyway, let's go on now, gang, and do a little bit of playing here. Let's see what this thing sounds like. I'm going to give you my thoughts sort of as we're playing it. And I'm going to start by switching Felix here over to a clean channel. So what we've got here is like a Fender Deluxe style amp. And what I'm going to do is add a little bit of spring reverb and a little bit of slap delay just for depth. But I think overall it's probably going to give you an idea of what this thing sounds like. So as we go on, let's take a look. Let's see what this sounds like. Also had a little tremolo on for that one, so we'll turn that off and get it a little more of just a clear and clean idea of what that sounds like. "22 frets on this, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that earlier, but this is a 22 fret guitar, pretty standard. Not sure that was really out of anyone's wheelhouse, anything like that. Not terribly. So yeah, I actually think that sounds pretty darn good. Pretty warm here. I didn't mention the pickups, by the way, which seems like something I should have mentioned before I mentioned the frets, but these are calibrated T-type pickups in this guitar, and I've always kind of said these sound really good. These are a little bit hotter magnet than your typical like PAF style. It sort of harkens back to like this 70s, 80s era. You know, that's where you started to see a lot of T-top guitars. I don't think it really lasted terribly long into the 80s, but nevertheless, that would have originally been designated as like literally a T on the bobbin on the outside. So, of course, you're not going to see that with these covers, these chrome covers. This is all chrome hardware here, by the way. It's not nickel, where this is Gibson USA. If you want nickel, you're probably going to be looking at like a Gibson custom shop or just, you know, changing out all the hardware yourself. But It still looks incredible. I actually really like chrome. Some people don't because it doesn't age a certain way. Doesn't really bother me as long as it doesn't affect the sound. So let's see what that middle section sounds like. Not too shabby, really not too shabby at all. I actually really, the playability on this, I've played other Gibsons out of the box that I thought, now again, this is just out of the box, and I've said this in other videos, setup is completely subjective, right? So, you know, the strings are a little higher on this than I think I would prefer, but the neck is really straight, and setup is always to taste. So this may be like to a certain spec that they have sort of at the factory. I'm not sure. I like an unrealistically low action, I think, but this still plays really well. Even for the action to be a little higher than normal, I think because the neck is still straight on it, it plays really, really good. So let's listen to that bridge pickup now. So today, also by the way, we have a lot of stuff coming in from NAMM. As I'm shooting this video, Kevin and Tony are in Anaheim at the 2025 NAMM show. So we've got a lot of cool stuff really coming for 2025. I've seen some of the videos that they've posted on our other social media, as well as possibly the channel. Not sure, but anyway, I've seen some of those videos, and some of those things, some of the pictures, I've managed to see some of the order sheets, for example, right? And we've got some really cool stuff coming in, so I think there will be some really cool stuff worth checking out from all of our major brands that we sell. That's going to be Gibson, Fender, Ibanez. I'll be starting to post some videos from those as they roll in, and I'm actually really, really excited to do that. So, anyway, again, I digress. Let's check out what this thing sounds like with a little extra something. So I'm going to switch this over to a Brit 2203. Now again, we're still going to have some slap delay here and some spring reverb for depth, but I think you'll still get a pretty good idea of what this thing sounds like with a little extra bite. So we're back to the neck pickup now. Let's give it a go. And hey, by the way, if you're this deep in, don't forget to hit that like button and maybe give us a subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. It really, really helps out the channel. Helps us sort of get some extra equipment. And as you can see, if you've again made it this far in the video, we do have quite a bit of extra sort of equipment now to work with, to film with. And we want to try to make better videos for you. And also, leave a comment below, by the way. What do you want to see us review? What do you want to see us talk about or put in a guitar spotlight, or even other gear, pedal spotlight, amp spotlight? Once we start to get more equipment, we can do that sort of thing. And your like, subscribe, commenting, and hitting that bell for notifications really, really, really helps the channel. And again, thank you to everyone who's watched any of our videos, anyone who's subscribed or anything of that nature. We really, really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Now, with that being said, let's try out this middle position here. This is going to be the neck and bridge together. See how calibrated these T-tops really are. The reason the middle position is one of my favorite places to play is it sort of encompasses a little bit of everything. I feel like you can play lead on it, or you can back somebody up with rhythm on it. My very favorite place to play, though, is the bridge, and I'm really, really excited to hear this bridge T-top in this gorgeous guitar with this whole setup that we've got here for you. So let's do that, shall we? I think these pickups are hot enough, honestly, to run the gamut. I know a lot of people don't necessarily think of like an ES-335 as being like this sort of hard rock guitar, right? But I think this really, really does a good job of covering that ground. And this is on a like a JCM 800 style setting, right? And the gain is like at 6.5, and it's not at a crazy, really like high level. And I think it still really rocks out, has good sustain. I think the center block is really the culprit for the good sustain, but the pickups are hot enough to do that, but also not crazy hot enough that it's going to feed back or go crazy. love that, actually. And I'm actually going to check that out. We're going to add like a Klon style delay to that now and see if it really does want to feedback or if it's going to do anything crazy. And I honestly don't think it is. All right, gang, so that's going to be my total rundown for this, really. I think we've heard about everything that I'm able to play and kind of keep this video sort of anywhere close to succinct. Hopefully we still can. And with that being said, gang, I think this is a really fun guitar. Even right out of the box, like I said, the action wasn't necessarily super primo, for example, right? But it still played perfectly fine, perfectly easily. I didn't have any trouble playing it. And again, action and setup are to taste, so I think my standards are a little unrealistic if you ask me. But again, very easy to play. If I had to take this out right now, like, you know, I had 10 seconds, they give me this guitar, I gotta go on stage, I gotta play, right? I could play this, no problem, just fine. I think it sounds fantastic, and really the super draw to this, with this specific model, this is $39.99, by the way, so it doesn't change price because it's a limited color or a custom color. The normal standard ES-335, that's the figured top, would still run that same price. It's $39.99, and I think it just looks great. I think it's a cool way to get a sort of unique colorway on a guitar that may not necessarily be made forever, right? I mean, change these custom colors up over the years or every so often. And with this specific colorway, I think it looks gorgeous, and I hope you enjoy it. So let me know your thoughts on this guitar, on this video, in the comments below. And also be sure, again, to like and subscribe to the channel. But check us out on our other social media. That's going to be, all of those will be linked below. That's going to be Facebook. That's going to be Instagram and TikTok, if it's still around. I don't know if it's still around by the time you're watching the video. Who knows? But anyway, check us out online at mountainmusicexchange.com. Use the hashtag MME Trades on social media as well to check out all of our used gear and things that we get in that's a little bit different, a little more unique. Or maybe something that you'd seen ages ago and now you see it again and it comes around and you're like, hey, I remember that guitar. So MME Trades is going to show you all the used gear that we take in. That new arrivals on mountainmusicexchange.com is also going to show you anything that we have in stock, new or used, and it's in order of how we receive it. So you'll see the newest first, and if it is on the website, it's in stock. So don't forget that. It's pretty cool. There's never any out of stock items on the website, right? Anyway, that's going to have us on this one, gang. I'm Clay. You rock. And remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make it loud. See you, crew.